Overseas demand for housing surges. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heiser here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your shine of coffee because I want to have a look at this article from realestate.com.au discussing the latest REA insights. So, overseas demand for our housing, it's up higher. Well, at least according to property search data. And remember, that's all that matters. All that matters in property, it's the search data. The search data. We haven't seen one like this in a while where it's focusing on property data and search data. But, there we go. So, in the US, October marked the run-up to the presidential election and escalating COVID-19 case numbers, while in the UK, fears of a second lockdown were realised. Both of these forces seemed to have translated into a desire to purchase property in Australia, with US and UK searches surging last month. Or it could just be people fantasizing about getting away to Australia. Searches from overseas on realestate.com.au increased by 8% for properties to buy and 8% for rentals in October. You can see here. There you go. That's it. Does everyone want to flee the States to come to Australia? However, searches from the US have increased 45% year on year and are increasing faster than any other country, likely fueled by the continued and rapid rise of pandemic cases. Searches from the UK are also showing similar trends, with a 15% increase in volume in October. While summer led to a slowing of search by UK property seekers looking to Australia, activity dropped by 27% during this period, the arrival of winter and a second COVID-19 lockdown is likely to lead to a continued acceleration of search, particularly over the holiday and New Year period. And there you go. You can see that. Well, it's gone up back to previous levels. Maybe it just dipped. Searches from China continue to be considerably lower than the same time last year, down 47%. However, it is interesting to note there was a 10% increase month on month. Now, here's the thing. You've got to understand, these are just search results. When you look at investment, China is still one of the biggest investors in, America is one of the biggest investors in Australia. But if you divide the value of their investments by the number of investments, foreign investments approved by the review board, the number is significantly higher. Whereas in China, if you do the same thing, the number is significantly lower. So the average purchase of a Chinese investment in Australia more closely aligns with the price of property around the country. So what do you think is going to have an overheating effect on the property sector? Which one? Now, if we have a look at this chart here, this is from the Foreign Investment Review Board. You can see 14, 15, 16, 17. See that black line? That is the peak of approvals for foreign investors. That's also right about the time when apartment construction was a significant proportion of GDP growth just in Sydney. For the whole country. It overheated the market, everyone. That's the problem. So, data from the Foreign Investment Review Board suggests that Chinese demand for commercial and residential real estate may be slowly coming back. However, the time lag between when the Foreign Investment Review Board data is collected and then published may account for this. Right now, we are not seeing this trend using realestate.com.au search data. The Foreign Investment Review Board data, FIRB, also shows that interest from Singapore in Australian real estate increased 26% in the financial year of 18-19, and search activity from this country does continue to rise on realestate.com.au. We can see here the States are up, Singapore's up, UK is down, New Zealand down, China significantly down. That's going to have an impact. If this materializes in decreased purchasing activity, that's going to have an impact on the supply and demand relationship for property. And where we're going to see it. We're going to see it in all the investment grade stuff that's just shot up everywhere. All the apartments, a huge oversupply of apartments. Some of them are already taking a slice. Could that be what's fueling people to get into houses? Investors who normally get into a investment apartment now, or first-time buyers in a tiny apartment, are now jumping into houses. So, US searchers in focus, who's looking? The top states where we saw the most search activity in October were California, New York, Florida, Washington, and Texas. Although This is not all too surprising, given these are highly populous states. However, taking the size of these states' population into account, we found that California, New York, and Washington state were still in the top 5. However, Washington, D.C. and Utah had more searches for their size. Do we want the Californians here? Everyone, move to Victoria. You'll like it there. So, the states with the largest year-on-year growth were much the same as the states with the highest number of searches. And again, Utah is made the list with a year-on-year increase of 120%. Utah may seem like an unusual state to be in the top 5 list. However, it is the home of the Church of Latter-day Saints, which has a large following in Australia, so travel back and forth may not be uncommon. The top state for growth was Washington, with an increase of 229%. As mentioned in previous reports, property seekers from overseas consistently prefer suburbs and cities where there is already a large proportion of their country folk. For Americans, this is no exception. So you can see here with US-born residents, Mosman, Manly, Melbourne, Surrey Hills, and South Yarra. So a lot of them will end up in Victoria. Mosman and Manly are where most US expats live, and these areas are consistently in the search results for Americans. South Yarra is currently the 9th most searched. Surrey Hills is further down the list at number 29. However, with 3,800 suburbs in Australia, this is still a popular suburb. And finally, Melbourne, which is the second most popular capital city, searched closely behind Sydney. So where are offshore property seekers looking to buy? Beach towns in New South Wales, Queensland and WA continue to be favoured by searchers from the UK, US and NZ, as well as suburbs with larger communities of people from these countries. Noosa Heads is in the top 5 for all 3 countries, while Manly and Bondi are also popular. Property seekers from Singapore are now highly focused on the beach towns in New South Wales, Queensland and WA, and are moving away from the pricey postcodes in Melbourne, such as Toorak and Hawthorn. So new dwelling approvals increased in September, with most overseas investors only allowed to purchase new dwellings. The volume of new dwelling approvals can be a driver for overseas interest in Australian property, or probably a leading indicator. In September, the seasonally adjusted estimate for total dwelling approvals rose 15%. Western Australia saw the largest growth of 42%, followed by South Australia at 28%. And you know, the thing is, while new dwellings may go up, and, well, home builder and all these incentives are artificially stimulating new dwelling construction. So it's putting a downward pressure on the demand for existing property. But traditionally, if new dwellings go up, you expect existing property to go up as well, comparably. In terms of new apartments currently available for purchase in Australia, realestate.com.au saw a month-on-month increase of 15% for new apartment developments in October. So luxury city apartments continue to attract attention from overseas. Why? With all the construction issues we've had, I guess, you know, you get the peak stuff, the high end. Inner city apartment developments with luxury penthouse offerings remain popular with overseas searchers. Property searchers from Hong Kong are attracted to the higher priced apartments in Melbourne, and the increase in activity from the US is driving interest in luxury apartments in Sydney. The Harrington with views of the Sydney Harbour Bridge and Opera House continues to be the most popular development with US and UK property seekers for a 3rd month in a row. King and Phillip and other Sydney developments are in the top 5, receiving 30% of searches from US and UK. So there we have it, everyone. Property searches from overseas are going up significantly, particularly for the US. So is this people afraid of the election outcome, the election results, maybe wanting to, fantasize about leaving the States and coming to Australia? I'd bet a carton on it. I would bet a carton on that. Let's see, particularly with the large numbers from California. Come on. And New York. Let's see what happens next month. I think the most concerning takeaway from a property value perspective is China. The demand coming from China is going to hit the value for property. We're starting to see it manifest in apartments. I remember there were projects I was working on where the entire viability of the development was based on just Chinese buyers. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or KuCoin. You can buy our merch from Heiser Says. use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.